Welcome to the Marlene Saunders show and podcast where we have real talk and real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and share me out. So let's get into this real conversation today with my recurring co host at the Geo Monroe show and podcast.
Hello, everybody. There we are.
There
Okay.
we are.
I was like, what? All right, now I'm Geo Monroe of the Geo Monroe Show and Podcast, and I'm so happy to be here with my lovely partner, Marlene.
Yes, thank you so much. So, today we're going to talk about ending toxic relationships. We all know about people who are just not healthy for us. And we're going to get into what are the signs of these toxic relationships, 6 signs of a toxic relationship, and the reasons why we should end it. So, before then, Gio, did you talk about your channel?
Oh, well, my channel, the Geo Monroe Show and Podcast, is all about chit chat. I will be interviewing home business owners over there from time to time, and also my friends with Super Channel, so that everybody can know that people have a business on YouTube as well. And we also, Marlene and I are also a part of the CTR Media Network, which shows our podcast in many, many, many countries. So, you guys, if you want to get an interview with either one of us, you need to do so because we're seen worldwide.
Exactly, Jill. Yes, the CTR Media Network with Dr. Tina Ramsey. So,
Right.
guys, let's get right into this information. Talking about toxic relationships. So, let me give you this information that I found on the internet. And it says we now live in an age where people can get their hands on just enough information to think they know what they're talking about. Google a few buzzwords such as narcissism, toxic relationships, bipolar, and gaslighting. Next thing you know, everyone is running around diagnosing their spouse, boss, mother in law. So there's no shortage of information on the internet. But the problem with these relationships is that sometimes there's a thin line between being a little unhealthy but worth working on to downright toxic, and you should run away as fast as you can. With that in mind, let's look at 6 signs your relationship may be toxic. So, let me ask my co host, what do you think about these? Do you know anything about toxic relationships, and what do you think?
Ron. Well, first of all, you have to know what is a toxic relationship. And first of all, you have to even know if you are toxic to know you in a toxic relationship. And then you have to recover from knowing that you are a toxic person. So then when you run into one, you can run. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. Because sometimes we don't even know that we ourselves could be toxic, or the people that you're with, or people in your family, because there's a lot of different types of toxic relationships out there in the family, between the person you're in a relationship with romantically, on the job. It's a lot of toxicity, and it's important to know what are these signs because it's important. We're in a new year. This is 2023. We live in an information superhighway. There's plenty of information out there for us to get the information, but it's what we do with that information that counts. Okay. So
Right.
let's get into these 6 signs. So this is one of the first signs of a toxic relationship: physical or verbal abuse. Now, you know that this really doesn't need a lot of explanation. Abuse of any kind, physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, all of it is unacceptable and is unhealthy in a relationship. So, physical abuse, even one time, is a cause for concern, and possibly physical separation for a time while the offender discovers healthier ways to control their anger. So, also consistent verbal abuse, talking down to you, telling you all kinds of nasty things that you're nobody and you can't do anything right and you're stupid, that's toxic too. And that needs to be eliminated so that there is a hope of having a healthy relationship. Your thoughts, Gio?
Well, I'm not going to ever stand for physical abuse. And one of the things that I learned about myself when I was in therapy, if I'm going to be in a romantic relationship, a companionship relationship, I cannot have a person that's violent in my life because of where I come from. You see, at least I know that about myself. And if I meet someone and they make me feel afraid for my life, I got to go. I mean, it ain't gonna even be no second thought, or I'm staying there. No, ma'am, I cannot, because it'll put me right back at that 17-year-old girl again, and I'm not doing that no more. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
So,
and what I don't like about the physical abuse is that there's always someone who's always what they do. The main issue that I have with the physical abuse is that they always blame the victim. That if you didn't make me so mad, if you didn't do this, if you didn't do that, there's no accountability with these toxic people because they never accept responsibility for themselves.
and never will. It's always your fault. That's why I say just walk yourself right on out the door. Because it's ridiculous, because there are so many women that's going through it right now, that's so afraid to say
And men, Gio,
anything.
and men.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
so afraid to say anything to the person, or anything to their family member, or even ask for help, because that person is so violent that they are just afraid if they say anything, they know they dead.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, and Gio, I will also add to that. A lot of times, the the person who is the physical abuser, they isolate them from having friends and family coming around. They
right,
usually move them away or do something, um, pull down their self esteem to make them feel that they're stupid and they can't do stuff, so that they will always have to be dependent on the abuser, and then they'll have you exactly where they want you, and then you can't leave because you will feel that you can't leave because this person has told you and played so much mind games with you that you think, I can't do anything by myself, I need them, nobody wants me, nobody, I'm ugly. They play those mind games, and that's very toxic behavior.
yeah, my heart goes out to people like that, because they do feel like they can't leave. I will say this every chance I get. I'm glad I fell apart at work. I'm glad I could not stop crying that day. And my boss and my CEO of the company told me that I had to go get some help. I'm glad that God broke me down and then put me together, because I would have never known. You know what I'm saying? That was abuse.
Yeah, and a
Maybe.
lot of times we don't even know that that's abuse because it depends on what was your dynamic growing up.
Right,
Sometimes in your childhood, you grow up in a toxic environment, and when you think of love, you think that's how my parents
right,
identified with love. So that must be love. So not everything that we see is really what it is. So
right,
we have to look at healthier ways, and that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I want to bring awareness and knowledge to this subject, because there's a lot of women and a lot of men who are thinking that this is normal, and it's not normal for someone to put their hands on you, and it's not acceptable. And if it's happening to you, please reach out and get some help.
right. Because and you're so right, and I have to just piggyback on what you said, and I'm glad that you said it, because if you come from a dysfunctional family where somebody is putting hands on either parent, the father or the mother is hitting one another, and knocking them out on the floor and stomping them and all of that, and then the other one gets, oh, I'm so sorry, and I didn't mean to do that, and then they get the hugging and whatever. That is not love,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they do that continuously. That ain't love, you know, and then you grow up and then you pick a guy just like that that beat your butt.
Yeah.
That's not love.
Yeah. And if you don't go and seek help, like me and Gia, we are definitely advocates for getting therapy and or getting a counselor or a life coach, talking with somebody, because you can't just get through this on your own. It's behaviors that you have to unlearn when you go through toxic relationships, whether it was in your childhood or in romantic relationships or within the family. You have to seek some help so that you don't continue that cycle in your own life.
Right.
Yes. So we're going to go to point number two. The second sign that you are in a toxic relationship is constant control and monitoring. This happens when a partner is literally controlling everything you do and say, looking through your phone, your email accounts, your social media, your receipts. They want to know where you are every moment of the day. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Everything is controlled and monitored, and you cannot think and do anything for yourself. That's a red flag. That's not normal and that's not right. Nobody has the right to control what you do and think about every waking hour of the day. And if you're dating somebody or you are with somebody who is doing that in your life, it's not good. It's untrustworthy. It's an invasion of your privacy. And most of the time, the person who is constantly controlling and monitoring you, they themselves are the ones that usually are the ones that is cheating on you.
Right. I could not have said it better, you know, and I go right back to the point that if I had not have gotten no therapy, you know what I'm saying, I would have picked men like my father who cheated,
Mhm.
you know, and that's what I was picking before I got therapy and couldn't
Mhm.
understand why I kept picking the same guys. I had to walk back through all of that and forgive it, release it, and let it go, and just say, my picker is broke. God, you do it.
Yep.
You know,
You have to you have to make it right for yourself. And this is about awareness. This is not, we're not making fun of you or trying to belittle you or make you think, oh, you shouldn't do anything like that. You know, sometimes you get in those situations and things happen to you. But the whole thing about this is for us to understand that nobody has that right. Nobody has the right to control you. Nobody has the right to put their hands on you. There's nobody's right, no matter what they say, even the ones that try to blame you and all of that. It's not your fault. That's one of the first steps to your healing process, is that
right,
you have to accept what is happening to you.
true.
Yeah. And I learned that in therapy, that until you can accept what has happened to you, you're always going to be in that cycle. If you keep denying that nothing is happening to you and that everything is okay, that problem is going to exist. You're going to be in a cycle, a whirlwind of this toxic behavior of physical and verbal abuse.
True.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not good. And the whole thing about that is that, you know, they do this so that they can have control of your mind, because guess what, if somebody has control of your mind, you're not going to be wanting to go out and have friends. They don't want you to have a life outside of them. They want you to be their entire life. You have to be there for everything for them. But you get lost, you know, because I went through that too. Not the physical abuse, but I went through the emotional abuse, or the verbal abuse, you know, talking down to you and all of that. And it really makes you feel like, what have I done? You start thinking, what have I done? Because that's what they're telling you in the mind games, that you did this and you did that. And it's not, it's just them trying to control you and having power over you, but you got to take your power back.
Right. And it's a journey, you know, to come to this. it's a journey to get through. It wasn't like, I just stopped picking guys like that because I was in therapy my first year. No, I had to go back and walk through to see how what my father did affected my mind and the way I thought, how my mama reacted to it and just stayed. That's crazy. Today, that's crazy to me, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. And today, I don't have to do that, because I already know the signs. But if I had not have went and got myself straightened out, I probably would be in the same boat as my mother. And she did the best she could.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like she says, we're not making fun or anything like that. We're just trying to tell you we've been through it, but we made it out.
Yeah, you made it out. And the whole thing is that it all starts with you acknowledging that this is not normal. This is not right. Me being talked to this way, talked down to, someone putting their hands on you, someone trying to control everything you do or say. You have to say, that's not right. That's not normal. And it isn't. So if that's happening to you, it's not normal and it's not right. And you don't deserve that. You deserve way better than that. And it's time that we support other women and men and say, because it's not just women. I know most of the time we look at the physical and the verbal abuse and think it happens to women, but it happens to men too.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get into point number 3. This is the third sign that you may be in a toxic relationship. No is not acceptable. So a healthy love requires trust and freedom. And that means that we have the freedom to tell our partner no at times. We don't always want to do what they would like to do or like for us to go, you know? And we may say yes to most things, but it's okay to say no at times. But in a toxic relationship, no is not acceptable because you are not allowed to have your freedom or opinions or ideas or to be an individual. So you have to learn that no is okay. And if the no's result in punishment, withdrawal, or physical abuse, your relationship pattern is very unhealthy
And toxic.
and toxic. And Rochelle says most abusers are broken and know they are broken, but uh,
Want.
want to cause the same to others, while some don't know they are broken, but hurting someone else gives them power. Yes. Yeah, I can understand some people don't know that they're broken, and most times, like we said earlier, people are just continuously doing um, like a repeated behavior from their childhood or the previous relationship. I speak about this all the time. After you get out of a relationship, if it wasn't a very good relationship, you need to take a little bit of time to yourself to heal, to find out where you are in your life and what you want, and why did you choose that person. And if you just keep jumping from one relationship to the other, you don't have time to identify, okay, what did I do and what did they do? And you're not going to grow as a person until you say, yes, this is what they did, but this is what I allowed.
Then you have to admit it.
Mhm.
What's going on in your life, and what part you played in it.
Yeah. We have to accept the role that we played in the situation, or it just keeps continuing in a
Right.
bad cycle of toxicity. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to point number 4. This is the fourth sign that you may be in a toxic relationship. Number 4, they won't take ownership or responsibility. So people who are emotionally and uh, very immature, they they are not willing to take ownership of their behaviors, attitudes, and decisions. They do not accept responsibility for their wrongs in any situations. And they will not be able to maintain a healthy relationship because there are many times where they make mistakes They're selfish and they hurt one another intentionally. But a toxic person will never admit their role or accountability in a situation because they believe they have no problem and they did nothing wrong.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a shame, but that's how it is, you know. And they will always believe they did nothing wrong.
Mhm.
But you have, if it's you being abused or controlled, you have to be the one that says, I don't have to allow this anymore. I can do better. I can get out.
Yeah. See, and I think that that is the main thing, you know, like Rochelle says here, exactly. Some victims fail to uh, acknowledge what they allow in their life. You got to accept responsibility for your part, but also the person, you got to say, this person is toxic. This person is not good for me. This is not healthy. This is not right. And one thing that I will say, it's not in the information that I read online, but it's something I learned from personal experience. If you are trying to get out, especially from a physically abusive person, you cannot tell that person that you're going to leave them. You can't tell them. It's one of those things where you're just going to have to just disappear. Like, okay, have a good day. And
You got
boom,
to have.
just like that, you're gone. Because unfortunately, I've heard one too many times where people have said, I'm going to leave you. And then,
They beat them down.
yeah, they beat them down.
And you have to have plan A, B, and C. In case A don't work, you can go to plan B and plan C. I believe in plan A, B, and C.
And D and E and
Yeah.
F.
You have to have a plan to get
Plan
out.
for plan. Uh-huh. You
Yeah.
do. And most of the time that people can't get out of these toxic relationships, you know that, Jill, because most of the time in these relationships, one person is a person that is not working and they don't
Right.
have any money. So, of course, when there's no money, you can't really do a lot of
Right.
things, but you can always reach out for help. There's lots of
Mhm.
agencies. It's not like how it used to be 20, 30 years ago. There's
Right.
agencies that just work with um, domestic violence or abusive
Right.
relationships and helping people.
Yeah, you can go on the internet to find the number, or you can look in the phone book. It's just lots of places. They even have it at the grocery store, domestic violence numbers. If you're in there, write it down.
Right. And the first step to changing or growing in an area of your life is a willingness to acknowledge and take ownership of where you are at. If a person is unwilling to do that, there will be little hope that this relationship is going to continue and be healthy.
Right.
Yeah. So, number five of how uh, signs of a toxic relationship, they keep a scorecard on you. So, if your partner loves bringing up your past failures or your shortcomings in order to keep you in check or discredit something you've presented to them, they may be toxic. You tell them how it hurts when they do X, Y, and Z, or when they embarrassed you in front of others. They are quick to respond with, you did this and this 5 years ago. That may be true, but bringing out a scorecard to say everything that you've done while not acknowledging what they have done is a big sign of a toxic relationship. And
Yeah,
be aware of that.
that is so true. They quickly bring up your past, but try to bring up theirs. Boy, they'll knock you out
Mhm. They never do anything wrong, ever.
ever.
Now, something has to be wrong with somebody who they can't admit when they're wrong. If a person can't say, I'm sorry, that's a sign of a toxic relationship. Or if they're always sorry after they do something wrong,
Right.
that's a sign of toxicity because it's always the, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then in an hour or a few days, they did the same thing all over again. Not good. at all.
No.
Yeah. So
Wow.
this is the sixth point of you being in a toxic relationship. You've stopped saying things because it isn't worth it. If you are dating or with somebody and they don't make you feel like it's worth your time or your energy to address issues in the relationship, or if you bring up a tough conversation, it might be time to move on. If that person makes you pay for confronting poor attitudes or behaviors, or they aren't open to accountability or change, or if you're married, then it's time to communicate some clear expectations for behavioral change. But if it has become past the point of no return where they're putting their hands on you, it may be time to shut the door or close the door on that relationship, because being silent when you're dying or hurting inside is not good for you. It's very toxic, and you'll eventually lose any hope to want to leave the relationship because you have begun to settle.
Right.
You shouldn't settle in a relationship. I'm not saying nobody's perfect. Nobody does everything right in a relationship, but a person has to be willing to do things that make you happy. It can't all be one-sided, that everything is about pleasing them and you never get anything back for yourself. Big toxic, big red flags all over the place.
Yeah, anything that you want to do or bring up, or if you want to get into a business, now you can't do that because you're not smart enough.
Yeah, or who would
That,
listen to that? You're not good at anything.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
just awful.
Yeah, I can't. I don't like when someone discredits somebody, and like they were saying with what I read in this information online, if they embarrass you in front of somebody, that is like, oh, that infuriates me. Even when it's not me, when I'm around somebody and they'll say, oh, well, you don't know how to do anything anyways, or that's so stupid. You don't know what you're doing anyways. I feel so. Oh, it boils my blood when I see somebody do that to somebody else. Like, you don't do that to somebody that you claim that you love. No,
Right.
you don't embarrass them in front of other people. If you have something you want to talk about, wait till you get home, but not in front of everybody, because it makes everybody in the room feel uncomfortable. I don't know if you've been through that, Gio, where somebody
Of
says
course.
something and everybody is like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll be wanting to say, y'all need to go to therapy. All you need to get up out that relationship because you can't be saying that in public to me because I probably just walk off and hopefully I got the keys and leave your butt there and would not even go home. If I had a chance to escape, I would take the car and keep going to the next state and the next state.
You couldn't find me out, I would disappear.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got to have a plan.
You have to have a plan, and that's why I always say, I'm not talking about other people. This is it's different strokes for different folks, but that's one of the reasons why I don't believe in joint bank accounts. It's me, it's a personal thing for me. I don't believe in it. I do think it's important for, for bills and stuff, but this joint bank account stuff where you're both putting in money, but that the other person is using up all the money, so when it's time to pay a bill there's no money in there for bills. That just doesn't work for me.
That's another reason. So when you get some more money in there, you be the one to take it and put the gas in the car and leave.
Hmm.
You know, and my heart just goes out to women in that position because it really is a tough position. It's a hard position because you become what they think that they make you think you are. And it's hard to get out of. But I'm here to tell you that if you just dial the domestic violence number, somebody there will understand. And there is always a way out of toxic relationships.
Yeah, there's always a way out, but you have to. The whole thing, it starts with you as an individual. You have to want to get out these bad relationships, and also I'm just going to get into this quickly, talking about toxic in the family, because there's toxic relationships in the family where you always have to do everything for them, and like you're always asking for support or this or that, and that's never acknowledged. It's always me, do for me, do for me, do for me, and never anything comes back to you. So don't let family members, and don't even talk about these what they call, what my the young people are calling frenemies. They're really your enemy, but they hide behind that label, I'm your friend, but it's, you have to do everything for them. When you go out to eat, they want you to pay for them every single time. If you know everything, if you're going on a trip, you have to drive every time. You know, if you're not getting back whatever relationship is, romantic, a friend, a family member, if you never receive anything back from them and they never make you feel good, if they make you feel drained, that's a sign of a toxic relationship, and it has to end. You can't
Right.
continue the cycle. Anything you were saying, Gio?
Well, family, child. All I can say is that I just had to set up a lot of boundaries with that. Like, I can't do everything for you. I don't have no money like that. I can't be lending you my bill money, and then when it's time for you to give it back to me, you don't have it. Oh, I learned real quick.
Hmm.
I
That's what,
don't, you know, I,
and that's, go ahead.
I was going to say that I will give if I have it, to
Hmm.
give and not expect it back.
Hmm.
And that's got to be something that maybe they likes when they get turned out or something. But after that, too many times, I don't do that either.
Hmm.
I say, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to be without some lights. You
Yeah.
need to be held accountable for what you're doing with your money. I'm not taking care of you.
Exactly. It's okay. You know, everybody needs somebody. Everybody gets those down times where everybody needs a helping hand and some support. But if it's always you and they're not doing anything on their end, and it always has to be you doing all the work, that's a
Right.
sign of toxicity, and that's not healthy. That's
Or
not healthy.
when you need something, they I don't got it.
Mm-mm.
I don't have it, but I wish I could help you.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, when I hate when I ask for help, because it takes a lot for me to ask somebody for help, and when I
Mhm.
finally ask them and they get mad, whoo, oh, I get so mad. I'm like, I don't even like to ask for help. And what you do with your money, or what happened to your car, or why can't so and so do this for you?
Right.
Like you don't know what you want to do. Why you gotta tell me ask so and so? I'm not asking them. I'm asking you.
And then they go tell the whole family, girl, child, did you know Gio called me and asked me for, and it get back to me, and I'm like, I don't, when you ask me
Yeah.
for something, I don't even ask you what you need it for.
Yeah.
If I got it, I will give it to you. But when you ask a toxic person for some money, they gonna call the whole family and tell it. Well, that's how it is in my family.
Oh, I know. That's how it is in mine too. Oh, can you believe? Oh, she's asking me for some money. Didn't she
Yeah,
just buy this $300 purse? What's she doing with her money?
that's family. You just have to set up a lot of boundaries, and it's hard in families sometimes to say no. But when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of giving your money out or whatever they asking you for support or whatever, you'll stop. You'll say, I can't do it,
Hmm.
and then
See,
you're
I
gonna
can't
feel
help you.
guilty. Because I don't feel guilty no more. I just don't. It's almost as though, well, it's not that I don't care, but I care about me more and my bills in
Yes.
my house.
Hmm. And I think that's what it all comes down to. This everything about these toxic relationships, it all goes back to you. What do you think about yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? And if you're always giving to other people but you're never giving to yourself, that's not healthy. Because in a good healthy relationship, somebody should be asking you, how are you doing? How are things going with this or that? When's the last time you did this for, and how can I help you, and how can I serve you? That's That's loving relationship. And if you don't get that back, what can I do to help you and be there to support you? I got to move on. I got to get away
Right.
from you. Because that goes to the danger zone. And then
True.
one day, you wind up in a hospital sick with something, or you have a panic attack or something, or you wind up in therapy.
For real.
Like what
But
happened to me?
but
You
that's
end
a
up in
good
therapy
place to
behind
be.
some people.
That's a good place to be, therapy. Because once you find out, oh, you're going to get your power back, and them people going to be really upset because they can't control you anymore.
And that's the thing about taking your power back, is that once you realize the amount of power you have, there's so much power and peace in the word no. And that's something that we as women and men have to be able to say without an explanation. I don't have to tell you why it's no. It's no. No is a complete sentence,
Right.
and we're done, right? So this has been a great discussion about 6 ways that you can identify toxic relationships and how you can end it. So, if you're in this physically, I can't think of the word. If you're in this physically abusive relationship, or a verbal relationship, or any type of relationship, if it's not healthy, family, friend, romantic, whoever it is, if it's draining you,
Right.
if they're taking from you, if they don't treat you right, if they make you not feel good about yourself, if they put you down, make you feel that you're less than, that's toxic. And it's time to end that relationship, because moving forward, once you cut off those toxic people, now you can give yourself the wings to fly and to do what you need
Right.
to do in your life.
Amen.
Yes. So this
Yeah.
has been amazing. Thank you so much, Gio, for joining me for this podcast about how to end toxic relationships. I'm going to have her information in the comment section below. And of course, if you watched all the way to the end and you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, share me out, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we will see you on the next Marlene Saunders show and podcast, where we have real talk and real conversations. And you're welcome to it. Bye-bye, guys.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you?